All right, we did the roll call. Why don't we do the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
Pledge allegiance
to the
to the
flag
flag
of the
of the
United
United States of America
and to the
and to the
republic
republic
for which it
for which it stands,
one nation,
one nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty,
liberty
justice
and
for all.
justice for all.
Okay, item 4, any opening remarks?
Thanks, John. It's good to see everybody tonight. Obviously, as we continue to close out this project, there are some items that have come up that we've known about for some unexpectedly, some we've known about for a little bit of time and trying to work through resolutions. So I know Connor's going to go through a presentation this evening to kind of share some of that. He had also shared that out in preparation of tonight's meeting. Certainly happy to answer any questions. I think I can't remember who put it best, but as we were talking about, it might even have been Gene at one point, all these things look great in design. And when you open the building, they look beautiful, but then you actually start to use things and you're like, oh, this didn't really work out as intended. So, there's certain items that we want to talk about tonight, playground, the outdoor classroom, some of those items. And then I know Connor has some other things to address, but good news is, building is still beautiful. It's still running great. We have no significant issues, just minor things here or there. And we're just fortunate to still have everybody still involved, RDA, CHA, and certainly Bacon, Agostini, all continue to be responsive to any of our needs. Anytime we reach out, we're getting emails back or even if necessary, somebody on site. So can't thank them enough for their efforts as we continue to kind of close out the project and go through our what seems like a never-ending punch list, I guess, of items. But Connor, I'll turn it over to you or back to you, John.
All right, yeah, thank you. Item 5, approval of previous SBC meeting minutes, December 21st, 2023. So
Motion to approve, Mike Loesch.
Second, Lil.
all right, we'll take the roll.
John,
Yes.
Michael Dolan,
Yes.
Lil,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Michael Loesch,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion was approved.
Thank you. All right, item 6, OPM update.
All right. Am I allowed to share my screen? I don't know if hopefully I'm able to. I'm gonna try to.
You're all set.
Okay, cool. Thank you. All right, just give me a head. Can everyone see that?
Yes.
All right, cool.
Yep.
All righty. All right, so just a quick, I'll go over the budget and kind of where we stand, contingency wise and all that. So looking at a lot of these, this is based off of the ProPay submissions that we submit to the MSBA. So they could be $1 from $1 up. So we probably have a couple more that we're going to submit before closing out complete with the MSBA. They have a huge audit process at the end of a closeout of a project. So with a fine comb, they'll go through all this. But the biggest one here we want to look at is contingency. Originally we had the $3,740,019 of contingency. To this date, we have spent $1,267,000. And $221.45. Sorry. And that leaves us with the $2,272,497.55 left of that contingency. So that can be from anywhere. We can use that for any of the change order work. Looking forward to this meeting. I've got a message actually from somebody. I think Gene's trying to join. I don't know, Dr. G, him joining, Gene Raymond.
I'll forward him the email that you sent earlier, Connor.
Okay. Yeah, but so just looking at this, we do have a decent chunk of funds left. of that contingency and the budget as a whole, which is very fortunate for the town themselves, because there will be a good amount hopefully going back to you guys. Looking at change orders, this is a lot to digest. I know it's every change order that you have passed since the beginning of this project. That's that $2.2 million threshold right there of spent to date. A little bit easier to digest right here as a pie chart. So remaining is in that blue, that 2.4 million, but spent is 1.2.
Overall, I've done a quick analysis on your project versus probably 9 over the last 7 years, and you've done an excellent job maintaining your overall contingency. And to the architects, and I hate to say it out loud, to their technical and specifications and drawing details, have done a good job minimizing the change orders related to the design.
And that brings us to change order 27. We're trying to wrap up everything on site. Just with the owner living in the building for so many years now, they found that things work, things don't work, things are needed in order for the building to function in its original intended purpose. So that brings us to a few items here included in change order 27. PTO 139, the planting and removal, the plantings removal and replacement on site. I can show you a better idea. Hold on, let me see if I can. Oh, you know what?
Dennis isn't on today, is he?
No, I don't have the drawing, but as a overall outlook on this, so there were a number of plants on site in the playground area that they're classified as toxic berries. That meaning that children were on site playing out in the playground, eating those berries. And at that young age, it's hard to tell a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old, hey, don't eat those berries, like guide them in the right direction. You can only do that so many times, but if you're going to have them on site, they're going to be available to those kids. So the owner, or Dennis, the principal, had stated his opinion on that, and that they needed to be removed, which we wholeheartedly agreed with him. So this is that price of removing those plants and replacing them with a non-flowering or berry plant. That
So
will
John, one of the things that John had asked us is, upon the removal, could those plants be utilized in another location within the town? And we're speaking with the town to figure out, whether they could be relocated in the best location or the proximity to. One of the issues that we ran into is that these plants are planted, and John Artecki and Gene had stated that these plants have been utilized around elementary schools and early childhood locations in the past. It's just the location of where these are planted in proximity to where the playground is. It just gave the ability of younger children to think it was okay to do. So in the best interest of the student and the staff and the town, we decided that it was it was the right thing to remove and replace them, and we're going to try to relocate them somewhere within the town of Bridgewater. And I was thinking about it, doing the new fire station. We are doing a landscape program outside of the current project, so that might be a good location for them to end up. But we're going through with the designer and the landscape architect to determine that if that's the case.
Joe, we don't want any poison bushes. On a serious note,
keyword.
through Gene and the rest of the committee, considering we paid a landscape architect to design this, has there been any attempt to recoup either labor costs or anything else related to this 28,000 proposal? Does this represent the total cost to the town?
Matt, we had a long conversation about this, and these plants are utilized throughout the Commonwealth in certain locations. So he didn't feel And the landscape architect did not feel that his application was, you know, a design deficiency. He just felt it was a situation where, you know, under these circumstances and the student population, that it wasn't in the best interest of the project to keep them in that location. We talked about even, you know, providing some type of barrier between them, and it just didn't make sense. It made more
Sure.
sense to relocate them and put something more that would be better suited for that location. So the answer is we did look into it. We didn't, you know, at the time, it was difficult for us to turn around and say we felt it was a design deficiency because of what they've done.
Understood. Gotta keep it safe. I was just curious in case I get asked. Thank you.
No, it's a good question. And, you know, I'm the first to turn around and try to, you know, grab someone's wallet for a deficiency or an error or omission, but I don't think that was the case at this time. I can tell you something moving forward. I can guarantee upon our review, we will not allow those shrubs to be, or plants to be planted within a playground area moving forward. That's a lesson learned for us as well.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. In addition to the plantings, there is another PCO for the playground hillside revisions. Shown right here. This is a kind of a bird's eye view of the buildings up in this upper right area. With the asphalt area, the playground lower, in the upper right here too as well. There's a hill here that originally had seeding on it. I think they hydro seeded it, and it got torn up by the kids just using it just in general use. Water running down it, and it turned into almost like a mud hill for the children to be playing on. So the town wanted, or the school wanted to replace it with a poured in place to match the upper area up here. So this is all like a poured in place material, like that rubber squishy safe material. They're gonna put that on this hill here, which will add to its longevity and will hopefully be there for a much longer time than the dirt, and it'll be a lot cleaner.
Matt, we gave the parents an option of just bringing a change of clothes, especially during the rainy days where they were having mudslides. But, you know, they chose not to do that. So we decided to put a port epoxy material in there for longevity. That's all.
Sounds good.
Connor, can you go back to that drawing again? I just want to get bearings. The building is to the bottom of the drawing.
That's correct. Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
In that area, what they do, you know, unfortunately, it's until you get a district utilizing space, and you'll actually find the student population utilizing, you know, a playground in a certain manner, or even egress from the walkway down to that playground. It just makes the most sense, you know, after we saw a year and a half of activity, that making that put in place material just made more sense for the district.
Thank you.
Just to follow up on that, Joe, you're 100% right. I mean, I think it's that location. It's just too inviting for the kids going from that upper spot down lower. It's just like the perfect kind of on and off ramp for them to use. They don't have to go too far around. They can just really cut through. So it really, you know, no fault of anyone's, no design flaw there. It's just the way it was laid out. It really just became inviting for the kids to kind of go up and down. And as much as they tried to curb that initially because we wanted the grass to grow, it just became a never-ending battle that we weren't going to win.
And Dennis's idea about barbed wire there, I didn't think was a good idea either. So
Jumping, I'll just go down the list. So another part of this change order, there's an invoice for fire alarm covers throughout the building. Right now they're not covered up at all. It's almost like the pull latch, the pull and out latch, which has unfortunately been getting pulled by students, which their fault. It looks like inviting. It looks like a handle. I'm sure they're doing a lot of work with fine motors in the classroom, so I'm sure it looks very so this will be.
These are basically the plastic covers that cover the pull stations. You lift them up prior to pulling. I mean, between eating the berries and these pull stations, we had to deter them a little bit anyway.
Then moving on to Granger. So talking with Mark, the head custodian over at the school, there were a number. Yeah. So wait, this includes the carts for the stacking pair. So in across from the cafeteria, there's a storage room there for all the auditorium chairs for events. I think there's close to 600 of them, and they were taking up way too much space. The carts that originally were specified for them didn't hold as many high as necessary, so it was almost double the amount of carts that we almost didn't need for the chairs themselves. In order to utilize that space fully, it made more sense to order a new stacking system, almost a new cart system that was also used in the high school, I believe. That's where he had originally got the idea from. So that's 24 of those racks, and it will save a lot more space, and it will be a lot easier for that staff to even set up for assemblies and all that stuff, because it's more chairs per chart or per cart.
It speeds up the efficiency for the stacking and the removal of those chairs as well as setting up, so.
And it also came down to space there, Connor, too, if you remember. I don't think all the chairs, given the number of carts and how high they could be stacked, could actually fit. We had to store some of those. So this allows us to utilize that room fully. If Mark tried to go any higher on the carts right now, they become a tipping hazard for anybody that's not, I guess, skilled at moving those around. So these new carts would allow those stacks to go higher.
Yeah. And that comes down to, again, the operation of the building. Once you get in there and the actual use of the building, you find out the pros and cons for each of the spaces and the equipment needs as you move forward. And I think this is just a good purchase for that long.
So the carts that the project already purchased, are those going to be repurposed in the school or elsewhere?
They're looking throughout the district right now, John, to utilize it. Fortunately, some of those units that they currently bought can be utilized with some of the similar chairs out there. So they're discussing it internally in the district where they best be suited.
Thank you.
Just to kind of piggyback off of living in the building and seeing how it works, the gymnasium doors, the exit doors, there's no alarm system for people. For when people open up those doors, they can just go freely, even though there might be a sign that says "Do not enter" or "Do not use this exit." So for those after-school activities and weekend activities with the basketball games and all those fun community events that they throw at the school, these are alarms for those doors, so they will ring if they are opened, which will hopefully prevent them from actually being used as an in and out door. That way we can direct traffic through one way instead of 4 doors off of the gymnasium.
For those who've been in buildings that, where it says the alarm will sound if the door is open, that's basically what we're adding to those locations to deter the staff. That's all. I mean, deter the students and population from utilizing them just as a means of egress. When they realized that they're not alarmed, they use them a little easier. That's all.
And then there are no pet signs, reflective no pet signs for the rear of the building here. I can show you a little bit, two birds with one stone here. So there is another PCO. Let me just read off the number so I know what I'm. 137 here for additional fence and gating right here at the field in the rear. Here, I can give everyone a better idea of kind of what they're looking at. This is that front parking area, main entrance right here. To the left, the big open field without the playground in the rear. The school has been having some I don't want to say unwelcome, but some visitors walking their pets out back and leaving their
deposits
all throughout that field there. So the owner thought it would be a great idea to put a gate and a fence to kind of close that off, which I think is a great idea because that prevents that completely from anyone walking back there and leaving droppings out in the back, so kids aren't stepping in them, going home to mom and dad asking them to come it out. So we got multiple signs. We're gonna put them there and then also off of this field area too as well, to prevent any kind of dog walking throughout there, and make it a little more maintainable.
Yeah, unfortunately, it only keeps the honest people honest. The people who are being devious and letting their dogs run free and not picking up after them is multiple reasons why we end up having to put a fence and signage up. It'll actually deter a lot of activity that, without the fence or gate there, people would just, taking liberty over the weekend and letting their dogs go crazy in there. Then the student population comes back on Monday and has to deal with it with the teachers and staff. So they requested it, and we thought it would be a good idea based on that.
Connor, maybe you can explain why it needs to be the size it is, the relationship with the site.
The size of the gate?
Yeah, I mean, it's an $8,000 gate, right? So it's
Yeah.
36 feet wide.
Yeah, there's actually fencing and gate associated with it, John. So if it was just a gate, I want to know what kind of gate that is, because I'll put one at my house. But I mean, I don't think that was the case. There was some fencing and there was a section of access gate just to basically funnel the population to go to a entrance and have it secured.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Going up to 132. So we had discussed a couple of months back, actually it's been going on for a bit now, the splintering, our favorite splintering deck. It's actually the deck itself was not splintering, it's more so the bench was splintering. So this change is for a prefabricated bench top made of a recycled plastic material. That way, longevity wise, it will stay there for forever, hopefully, and the wear and tear won't be an issue here. It will come in one or two pieces, I think. It will come as, yeah, they'll put it together and drill it in, but it will come in as a couple pieces, made just exactly for the dimensions of the bench.
We've been talking about that. We've been talking about that forever, Wood, and the splintering issues and the student injuries that have been happening. And we just felt, it's a great space for the students to utilize, and it's a wonderful location for the student population. We just wanted to make sure it was safe for the students. We actually went back to the actual manufacturer, sent samples back there, and the installation practices of how they did it was correct. It just wasn't at that location. It wasn't the best material to be utilized for that activity. That's all.
Joe O'Connor, could someone just give me a reminder of where this is located?
Yep. I should be able to show you on one of these maps, actually. It is right here on the playground. This is the front playground. So like the main entrance is up here.
Okay.
Parking, and then it's literally
right off of the cafeteria.
Yeah. Right
So I'm going to ask a crazy question now. I assume even though we're dealing with wood and splintering, when we shift to this plastic, does it absorb and retain heat? And we're going to be dealing with people getting burned now. So have we researched that?
Yeah, we have. And the answer is
Okay.
no. They put a type of material into it that doesn't allow it to heat up like Trek and TimberTech. It's not the same type of material.
Okay, appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Another change is PCO 138. So on the second floor bathrooms, here, let me see if I can pull up the drawing. There's urinals for all of the first grade classrooms. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan. I know I might be, or Lil. So there's urinals in all the first grade classrooms, but when you go up to the second floor, or when you go over to the second grade bathrooms, there's no urinals. And to keep them consistent with the rest of the building, that way, if you're practicing one thing, you want to stick with it. We're going to add urinals there where there were originally toilets. So they'll still have 3 toilets and 3 urinals within that boys' room.
What we found out from the district is the urinals are getting utilized twice as much as the toilets, obviously, and they're more efficient and quicker for the student population to do their business and leave. So it was based on an operation and observation through the last year and a half, almost 2 years now. They felt the urinals were the best option to put in there for efficiency.
So Joe, could I just ask again, another question related to this? I'm going to assume that this has been approved by either the state or local plumbing inspector.
Yep, the fixture counts all match.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I try to do my homework a little bit, Matt.
So I pay you the big bucks.
All right, and then a couple more. So Clean Cut Solutions, which is a longtime vendor of the district. The custodial staff at the school, they want to order a couple battery operated scrubbers just to make maintaining the building a bit easier for the staff there. It is a big building and they've been doing a great job, but anything to make that load a little bit easier for them, I'm all for it, and so is the district themselves.
It comes down to efficiency, and these units will hopefully, where it takes 2 men to do a particular task, it'll hopefully drop it down to 1 and be able to utilize this equipment for efficiency. So
yeah, and just to piggyback off that too as well, just through Amazon, there's a couple extended, so like it has like almost like an extended broom handle for on the scrubber, and that uses the same kind of battery that they have throughout the whole school themselves for all the drills and all that. So it's like a Milwaukee, I think, kind of battery for those. But those are for 2 scrubbers, so they can clean the tile in the bathrooms, get in those hard places and efficiency, like Joe was saying.
yeah, you needed something to clean those urinals with.
So I just wanted to follow up with a question related to this as well. I know that we got into a discussion previously about landscaping back a year or so ago. Does the committee feel it's appropriate for us to be using contingency money for cleaning equipment versus construction? I think we had this answered before, and I think it was okay. I just want to make sure that we've checked that box.
Matt, the answer is absolutely. I mean, I encourage districts to get, they're supposed to fit out the operation of a school through the MSBA, and MSBA actually wants you to make sure your FF&E includes equipment to be able to maintain the school. They don't encourage buying like items for other uses other than the intended building use. So if you're buying it and purchasing it for the building that was constructed, they're okay with it.
Great, thank you, Joe. Appreciate that.
And it's non-reimbursable anyway through the district right now. So it's basically efficiency for the district, but they don't frown on spending on equipment to maintain a building.
Understood. If I could, John, at some point that you feel is appropriate to the chair, just if I could ask a question of Ryan Powers, the question would generally be, as we chop away at what's left of the contingency, if it's possible, I don't want to kind of put him on the spot tonight, but just generally, how is the school going? And is there anything that we're currently looking at or the administration is looking at the school that they feel like maybe become additional change orders or things that they're not happy with, just so we can anticipate that? Or is everything at this point seem like it's okay?
Great question, Matt. No, for the most part, other than what you're seeing here tonight, I know we've been working with Connor, possibly some additional furniture. We've had to kind of reconfigure some of our classrooms to meet our changing needs, student needs. And so we obviously want to try to match up the furniture that we have. We're opening another substantially separate special education classroom. That obviously wasn't, included in the original number of special education classes, but given the student population, we've had to add that. So small minor changes like that, nothing, what you see here tonight are really kind of the significant changes that we've been working on over the last, some time, but nothing really else on the horizon that is looming to bring back to the committee, at least not to this magnitude.
I would reoccur with Ryan. The only thing that I've seen Ryan hold, a firm fist to is when Dennis asked for that BMW convertible for access. He said absolutely not, so we denied that.
Right.
Awesome. Thanks, Ryan. I appreciate it.
Of course, Matt.
So just as a total for change order 27, it comes out to $168,801.08. Just to show you that against your contingency now, just so you have a better idea what it may look like or what it will look like if it's passed. I kind of condensed all these change orders into big amounts here, but for the bulk of it, you'll have $2,303,996.47 left of that $3.7 million contingency after this change order 27. And just as a little bit better visual here, all of that 2.3 remaining, with the orange being change order 27 and 1 through 26 in the green right here.
So one of the things, Con, I want to make sure that they're aware of, most of this work that we're trying to get approved, we're trying to get done before the school year. The delay a little bit on the last couple of meetings, we've given the green light to have Agostini order some of this material so that we'd have it in a timely fashion and be able to have it done for opening of school. Some of the items, depending on, as far as deliverable and installation, may carry over a little bit, but we're trying to make sure the majority of the work is done prior to.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Gene, if it's okay with you, I'd like to make a motion to approve change order number 27 in the amount of $168,801.08. Hope for a second for a discussion.
Second, Mike Lowe.
Okay, I have no personal discussion, but I'd like to say, obviously I appreciate all the work and effort into this, and really excited that this school and hopefully this committee is coming to a wrap soon. And glad we've been able to get this accomplished under budget with some contingency left.
You bet. We also just recently got the substantial completion and occupancy permit over signed by Mike. I believe it was signed by Michael Dutton. And that was submitted. That was a huge milestone to get to the MSBA. Now that's another critical point to get our closeout completed. Normally, it takes anywhere between 12 and 14 months after a school gets substantial completion and occupancy to close out. You're well past that, but Connor's been working in the background, providing all of the closeout documentation to the MSBA. So we're ahead of the game right now, and or probably at our next meeting, he'll be able to provide a little better update for you on that.
Thank you.
So John, just while we're in discussion, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So I'm in favor of the change orders, but just a question why we do have this other contingency and we're talking about plantings and stuff. The grounds are not really tended to properly because of lack of staff, et cetera. Does it make sense? And Joe, could we have, we've spent all this money on plantings, we've spent all this money on mulch beds and everything else that really aren't being maintained. Can we, before we release the project, could we bring in a landscaper to go through all the plantings and make sure they're properly pruned and mulched? And
so the answer is, Pat, I would encourage bringing in if the district doesn't have the staff to be able to handle that, I would encourage bringing in a landscaper to give you a cost at what that might be. Your chance to do it is now. You can include it as part of the overall cost. Once you close out this project, there will not be any funds available moving forward to do so. So it'll be entirely at the district's cost. I'm not saying that this wouldn't be.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, we're spending all this money on plantings and replantings, right, and stuff's not maintained. And it's too bad, but it's just the reality. And you go there and the beds have weeds in them and stuff's not properly cared for, and they run stuff over if they don't know how to trim it. So my question is why we have the resources and we're trying to develop the plants and we're trying to make the school look great. Does it make sense to bring in a landscaper or the landscaper that did it, have them re-edge all the beds, mulch it, make sure all the plants are properly pruned, staked, everything else before we release the school?
Ryan, I could probably work with you, Connor, and I, and come up with a couple of prices from some landscapers, and we could have that discussion. I mean, you're going to want to do it over the next 3 to 4 weeks, so we could probably expedite that and get it in front of you sooner than later.
I think that's a great suggestion, and that would be great if you could do that, Joe and Connor.
Okay. Yeah, we ended up hiring someone at the beginning of the school year, right? Before the building opened.
Yeah, it was UConn Landscaping, yeah. Yeah, but there's a couple of vendors we'll get, and we'll get a couple of prices so that, you know, it's competitive.
Yeah, but it'd just be great to get it started off the right way. Get a good edge on everything, get another, you know, thick coat of mulch and everything, get everything pruned, and then the school has another year or so to figure out how they're gonna maintain it, you know?
Yep, absolutely. And you know what, Pat, to your point, it may give some insight as to, you know, the level of effort that's needed to do it. And it'll give Ryan the opportunity to actually look at his next fiscal year to see if he has to increase it for any one of those reasons.
I just think let's do a major cleanup while we can and get everything, you know, squared away, and, you know,
You got it.
good time to do it before the school year.
Yep.
Just for clarification, Pat, are you just talking about cleaning it up and not maintaining it for the year?
No, I'm talking about just, you know, having somebody come in and get it to where it should be. You know what I mean? Have somebody come in once, edge everything, mulch everything, prune whatever needs to be pruned, so it's off to a good start. And then then after that one time, it would be back to the school district.
Yeah, it's
like
Lil, it's a one-time deal.
like a
One time
big
to get it right.
like a big cleanup / reset of the site. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Post-construction landscape brush.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do
All right,
you
so we're a little off motion, right?
Lil, does that make sense or no?
Yep, it does make sense to me. Ryan, because this, or maybe it's to Joe, because this is part of the project, it won't interfere, will it, with the facilities contract?
No, I think that is a reality, Lil, that if this is a direction we're going to go in, would certainly have to, you know, probably impact bargain this, because I think facilities would look at it as we're giving away bargained work. But that's not to say that it can't be explored, and they may be open to it, certainly if they don't have the manpower to, you know, be able to take on a project like this. But it won't be just as easy as to say, okay, we're going to do this. It will be some back and forth and bargaining with the union.
But even if it's a one-time thing and it's just we're reestablishing the landscape for the project.
So Pat, what ends up happening, and unions get involved more than anything. We did it initially because the building hadn't really been turned over yet, and it wasn't turned over to the district at that point. They're maintaining it right now. So Ryan, I think you and I could tactfully go through this process and probably have them supportive of it at how we present it. That's all.
Exactly.
Well, at one of our last meetings, Tom asked for carpentry work and painting work and stuff because he didn't have a carpenter or painter at the time. So I guess I'm just trying to, you know, get a jump on what needs to be done because it's not getting done. And, you know, and it's kind of the same thing we've done with painting, the same thing we've done with carpentry, etc.
I don't think it's impossible, Pat. I just think we got to get the numbers and just meet with the group and just make sure everybody's well communicated. That's all.
And in this instance, I guess this is more of a personal opinion on the topic. There's a shelf life to that work that's being displaced, right, Ryan? I mean, pretty soon it's just not going to be done and it'll be winter. So there wasn't any lost work. So we're trying to take care of it while it's the right time and the resources can be made available.
Yeah.
And I don't disagree with any of that, John. I 100% agree. Right time to do it, especially before school starts. And I would support this. Just, you know, it may have some hurdles to overcome on the back end.
It's just not displacing work that's being actively done. So I'll end with that. All right. So I guess we got to get back to the motion, Lil. Like, is that right? Because it was seconded for discussion. So is there any more discussion on the motion? All right. It was great discussion though. So I think we'll take the roll.
John,
Yes.
Michael Dolan,
Yes.
Lil,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Michael Loesch,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion was approved.
Thank you. We kind of mixed or merged item 6 and 8, approval of the change order 27 I wasn't anticipating that there was a designer update, but I know Gene is on. Gene, any designer update for item 7? Or was it all said?
Joe did a hell of a job and but
Sorry, Gene.
nobody could believe it. But yeah, just so everyone knows, there has been a lot of work since your last meeting. You know, these things didn't just appear tonight.
Yeah.
And I'm not taking credit for any of it, but you know, the team and the district beat those things to death. So I'm glad they're passed and you can finish it up.
MSBA is getting some great feedback from your school, Gene, by the way. I'm hearing nothing but good things, and I'm trying to, you know, wake them up from it, but they're giving nothing but good compliments. So
Really, that's nice to hear. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now if I could only get Will and Ryan to say something good, you know? No, we're good.
Do I dare say it? Is this the first meeting in a year we haven't talked about lighting controls?
Yeah. Hey, don't jinx it now, John.
Hope I didn't jinx us.
No, I'm trying. I think we're getting through the night without that.
No, things have been good.
Yeah, no. I'm hoping you're enjoying it.
All right, well, thank you, Gene. And thanks for the work. A lot of stuff goes on behind the scenes from a lot of people that we just don't always see. Item 9, next meeting. Should we?
I think we're going to need another meeting relatively soon, maybe 3 weeks, just so that we can, well, probably 2 weeks, just to talk about the landscape portion of it, unless you want to do it through email. I think I have already contacted, right after our conversation, 2 landscapers to see if they could come out and meet me this coming week. I should be able to get another 3rd locally. But I want to, if you really want to expedite that and have that happen, we'll discuss scope, costs, and maybe approval so that we can have it done prior to the opening. That's all.
2 weeks sounds fine. I don't know if I can attend. I just don't know if I'll be on vacation and away. I just don't know if I'll be in a position where I can log on to technology. But that shouldn't stop us from scheduling the meeting if everybody thinks we can get a quorum. That would be the week of the 5th.
And I'll try to get you the information ahead of time, John, even if
No,
you
John,
can't.
the week of the 5th is only next week.
I'm sorry.
2
So it
weeks.
would be the 12th.
Okay. So
If we look
take
2
that
weeks
back.
out.
I should be able to meet that. Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, I'm just
Taking a long vacation, that's all.
yeah, taking it.
Okay,
Can
well,
we,
Connor,
do
you
we
look
have
at
a
the date.
quorum?
Yeah, I was gonna say, would you be able to have a quorum then? That's the biggest thing.
So if we looked at the 12th,
what is a quorum? Is it 5?
6.
5.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
5?
I can be available the 12th.
I'm
I'm
available.
available.
Me as well.
It's 4.
I'm
I should be
available.
available.
So Mike,
I'm also available in case you didn't hear it.
I'm available as well.
okay.
Perfect.
We have a
Great.
quorum.
All right, Connor, book it, and then we'll just, by then we should have the quotes and any other follow-up items that we might need to talk to them about.
All right, sounds good. Item 10, any new business that we haven't already discussed? All right, 11, public comment.
Hi, my name is Donna Jewell, Keith Place, Bridgewater. I had a question. What is the district's policy that they have in place for monitoring all the warranties that were put on product and systems in the building?
I can answer that, John, if you'd like.
Yeah, it's a good question.
So basically, the designer of record through the specifications has a pretty detailed list of items and requirements for the warranty portions of it. It's itemized, it's dated, it's based off of substantial completion and operation of the equipment, and it's maintained. It's a 1-year warranty. We're going to be doing a walkthrough. I want to say coming up Gene, I want to say within the next probably 2 to 3 months, we'll be doing a complete walkthrough of the building, just to determine, where we sit with, if there's any issues whatsoever with the warranty. But there's been a program set in place. CHA provided a document for any warranty items that are called up. There's a form that's forwarded to the district, to the designer and CHA, just to notify us of the situation, and then the general contractor. And then we have a warranty log that we track to make sure that the item not only is addressed, what the solution was, and resolution, and then a sign off for it. So we take it very seriously. We monitor it very closely. And at the end of the day, the district holds those warranties in-house.
And after you're not involved any longer, does the district take over the monitoring of that?
They do. Yep. And they have all the contacts. So we provide them O&M manuals, as well as any direct contact that they need to reach out to if there was any warranty items moving forward.
Okay, and I trust then that the district has a system in place for that and a person responsible?
They do.
That's correct.
We
Okay.
don't go away that quickly either. So
No, I
unfortunately, they
understand.
all have my cell phone number.
Can I have it too? No. Just an observation on the grounds. I have the opportunity to go by there quite often, and this spring around just, May, June time period, I was, as a resident and a taxpayer, I was very disappointed on the maintenance of the grounds. And even a couple times during the year when I drove through and saw weeds growing through and particularly in the back near the dumpster, and on the playground area. For the amount of money we put into that school, I would think that we should have pristine grounds there. And I hope that we can get a commitment to improve that. It's embarrassing. And when I hear about the plantings, I wonder if maybe we shouldn't just get rid of a lot of the plantings if we can't make a commitment to maintain them properly. If it's going to require a landscaper to do that, maybe it's better to just focus the money on educating the children. That's all.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. If there aren't any additional public comments, we would move to item 12, which is adjourned.
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
Let's take the roll.
John,
Yes.
Michael Dolan,
Yes.
Lil,
yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Michael Loesch,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion was approved. The meeting's adjourned.
John, have a great vacation.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks everyone for
you.
hopping on. I really appreciate it.